this one, email security. I probably you guys know a lot about this already,
Click on all
but
the links?
Yep.
there you go. I had to start off with this because of May the 4th be with you. It's not the 4th anymore, but your good old click the link.
Is valued imperial employee. I think the movies told us that's not how they're treated.
Yeah. Well, like this was AI generated, obviously.
There's no spelling errors.
Exactly. That's why.
What was this one? There's the M dash at the end of the bottom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, but spelling mistakes are deliberate
See-
though in scam emails.
So the thing is, I don't even think like I wrote it down like in a blog as a possibility, but also I wrote that the misspellings, the grammar, that's going away because of what we're talking about with AI.
But the actual scammers put like spelling mistakes deliberately because they're trying to filter out the capable people. They're looking for the people who can't.
Yeah.
That's a
Who
good
would
call.
fall for it.
Maybe. Well, that and also one of the thing is the dear valued imperial employee, right? Like because they're sending them out in mass, these aren't generally an email that's going to have a specific name to it. Like it's going to have kind of generic greeting, and then
Spelling mistake.
this is the.
That's not
I
a spelling
consider
mistake.
this like the Death Star, 3, 4, 5, something like that. I don't know which one it is. But click the button and look, there the rebels got him again. Instead of blowing it up with the X-wing, they got him with the fish email, right? Maybe too much of a dad joke.
It's not much of a Star Wars I respect.
All right, so kind of what we'll be looking at today. Like, I want to go over common phishing scams, what email malicious ones look like, kind of like what you expect when it comes to email, like expected emails, BECs, how to report it, and then we'll get more into a little bit more technical sort of information with like how emails are transmitted, kind of the headers when it comes to first looks. I really want to point out an MX Toolbox, a website that I use a lot of times. A lot of the things you can do on MX Toolbox, you can also do in the terminal via NS lookup equals type equals TXT or a dig with a TXT, because a lot of the records that the DNS record will hold a lot of the information, but in the TXT part of the DNS record. Go into that more later on. Okay, so common fishes, we all kind of know these where it comes to like getting an upgrade subscription, PayPal, like saying, hey, your accounts has something issues with it, like click this link to confirm your information. The job posting, let's read some articles before where people get job like, hey, we got the job for you. We just need you to download this app so we can. It's a testing app. And the crazy thing is like some of these.
They're on LinkedIn, like out on the open.
Mm-hmm. And those things you download could actually be legitimate programs up front and do something else in the background too. I've seen this one a lot of times online. The Microsoft one, where the unusual sign in.
There's the Apple, like your Apple, like your subscription thing's been expired.
Well, not only that, but one of the things that are really crazy is when threat actors start using legitimate services, like there's a Apple website that you go to you put in the email and basically give them a key or something. It was something like that. I've seen it a couple times where it comes with an Apple email address, but it's actually a service that you do through Apple to kind of like verify something. But along with that verification, you could put a little note in there, and that note, they can't add any links. Apple won't let them do that, but you could put a phone number. You could say, hey, your Apple account has expired, please call this number, and the person calls that number and it gets a problem. Like I've seen that with the Apple, I've seen that with something else as well. Forget what it is off the top of my head, but yeah, like even watch out for some legitimate domains, because there's might be a service out there that.
Canvas is the one that got like hacked recently across the country,
Mhm.
and so that's the one where like it might come from a legit looking source because they're like messaging you through Canvas, because like I think
Yep.
they replaced the login screen with like something that's here to steal your your login information.
Yeah, the one thing I was talking about, like, it's a legitimate thing where anyone could go to and kind of use it to send an email to, it's meant to send yourself information. I forget, I should have wrote this down for what this was, because I've seen it before. But yeah, like there's services out there that.
Canvas is the one
do
that's
that.
the big news this week because it affected like so many people,
Yeah.
like finals week or whatever.
Yeah, the Canvas one, that I would actually categorize in more of like, instead of a service that's legitimate, that people just, like, threat actors will abuse legitimate services. Now, the Canvas one I feel is more like a compromise,
Yeah.
where the Canvas legit, like, they just got compromised,
Yeah.
and they were able to
They
use.
have like access to students like names or like the email addresses
Mhm.
or like login info and stuff like that. And that's like
Yeah. Now, I wanted to point out, like, so what are we looking for, and what can we do about it, right? How do we check without being compromised ourselves? Of course, look at the domain. Because whenever you get an email in your inbox, it may not actually have the email address. It'll just say from Bob, from Apple, from USAA, which is the example that I got. I went to my Yahoo email, which you could find in the headers if you look closely on these slides. And my Yahoo mail gets spammed crazy, so I found a USAA spam that they sent me. But yeah, it will say USAA, but the email is from whoever.com, or not a USAA email. Hover over links. Does it look like a link that should be part of this email? Does it say USAA.com? Does it say salesinspection.com? So, because that another website was hacked, and they're using their links to send malware or something like that. Of course, any attachments, be wary of. If you have the virus scan, right-click virus scan before you do it. QR codes, I like to throw them in CyberChef or put them. I have an app on my phone called QR that I usually would use out and about to scan QR codes, which will give me a link versus actually just going directly to that particular link whenever a QR code can. And like we were talking earlier, generic greetings, and then of course, if you feel rushed, if that email that you're reading is like, oh, something's happened, you got to contact us now, 24 hours. Like, get yourself on the phone, because like that, they want to get you out of a thinking mind frame and more of a reactive mind frame. I wanted to put these up on the screen because I think these are great tools. I use them myself whenever evaluating emails. Of course, when using these, also realize if you're not signed up for an account, and like they share this information online, so if you submit it to it, it will be public. And whenever evaluating emails, even at work, I use these tools, but I have to know when to use them and when to not, because like if there's going to be possible NPPI, what bank calls it NPPI, everywhere else calls it PPI, personal private information. Bank is non-personal private information, I think, something like that. But I use things that we pay for to sandbox it that way. But I wanted to share these because these are free. You don't have to have an account with them either. You just go to that website and you can, right here, hybrid analysis, you can drop in a file and they will inspect it for you, tell you if they're good or not. The virus total. You got your URLs, like your website address, IP addresses, domains, hash files, or not hash files, but a hash. If you're able to get the hash. Of course, you could go into the terminal and create yourself a hash, depending on, the operating system you're on. There are different ways of doing that. Not something I'm going into on this presentation, but happy to explain how to if anyone has questions. Then, of course, the MX Toolbox, one of my favorite websites. They have a header analysis tool that I think is really nice. It gives you like the images to show you exactly like, okay, this is the DMARC, here's the SPF, here's the DKIM, like if they're both authorized and if they're kind of aligned. And then URLscan.io, definitely a good one for scanning that the website link as well. So when do people get tricked? Kind of already talked about it, we know. People aren't paying attention. It's the morning. I haven't had my coffee. Let's see. I got a gift card. Let me see what it is. Kind of in a rush, trying to get things done, multitasking. I got this phone call. I need to get on with a customer. Let me check my email real quick. And this next part, when I talk to people that have fallen for phishes, a lot of times it's an email that they kind of expected to get. And even if the email is obviously fraudulent, and the threat actor sends it to many people, right? Maybe the email's about a ticket. Maybe the email is about PayPal or something. And something in their personal lives has happened recently that they'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember running a red light when I was on vacation. This must be my just rewards for my email ticket that I got. I get those via text all the time. Those, hey, you have to go into the court. I'm like, oh, delete that junk. But yeah, like a lot of times when I talk to people, they're like, oh, this happened to me like a week ago or something. And like when I saw that email, I was like, oh, okay, this must be for that. So even though it's completely random for the threat actor is just sending it out to many, many people, right? They don't know what's going on in each and every person's lives, but that one person that actually had something happen that relates to that email that they received, that's a malicious email, that's why they fall for it. A lot of times, that's kind of my experience when I come to talk to people that have, clicked on these links. Yes.
I'm under the impression that a lot of the email like scamming stuff that's happening these days is exploiting the fact that most people are checking their emails on their phones.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's like how to check the headers. I mean, first of all, they weren't doing that on the desktop to begin with, but on the phone stuff, like it might be like hidden away somewhere that they can't really.
Very good point.
Click.
Like there's many times whenever I see an email and I'm like, I don't know if that's legitimate or not, and it's on my phone, and like the way
there's no hover on it.
Exactly, like I can't even really see the parts that I need to see on my phone. I don't mess with it at all until I'm able to get on the computer, and that I think I wish that would change. I don't know if that's ever going to change, but yeah, I agree. Like you may not see the full email, you are on such a small screen, and it's difficult. Of course, next part, like it's someone you know, like again, this could be one of two things. This could be where I was saying that header was manipulated, where it's looks like it's coming from the CEO if you don't actually click on the email to see what the email says. Could be like typo squatting, where people get if they're really trying to do spear phishing, they'll find a domain that's similar to the domain of the people they're attacking.
So like the L is a capital I or
Yeah.
one.
Or I don't know if you've seen it where these, what is it, Cyrillic letters or something, or like it's an A and then another. It looks exactly the same.
Oh, Cyrillic.
Yeah, Cyrillic. Yeah, I'm probably saying it wrong. But like those, I don't know how I'm gonna catch that. Just look at the links and stuff. At this point, honestly, whenever I check email anymore these days, I'm suspicious of every single even I'm skeptical. You could say, like,
There's no reason to ever click on a link, ever.
I agree.
Or
Like,
download anything, ever.
I'm resetting a password and.
true. You got it there. Yeah, like more often than not, I won't click links and emails. I will actually go to the account. Yeah, because it's just I see it all the time, so I guess I'm more paranoid than the normal person. And then I want to talk about BECs. Say another company did get compromised, and the first thing the threat actor is going to do once they have control of someone's account, they're going to go through, their contacts and send them stuff. They have stuff prepared to go when they have, another company's account. And the really bad part is, like, people will see that email and completely trust it because it's from that company. I always get emails from them. It may be even a little bit different than what the email looks like, but it's from that company, so it should be good. People get compromised. So, like, if you ever see an email that's from that company, get on the phone, give them a call. Did you send this? Because
Like from a bank. I got like an email from a bank. It turns out it was for my bank. It turns out it was legit. But I went to the branch to find out. Like my bank still has a physical location. Like I don't know about this.
And if you think it's malicious, don't email them back to ask them it's malicious. Like, I've seen that happen. It's like, hey, is this okay to click? Threat actor's there. Yeah, go ahead. Like, click that. yeah, you're like, definitely. All right, how to report it? Just a few things that my favorite. The government websites I thought was important to put up, especially if you have it done, like you've been a victim of a scam. Definitely get government involved, even if they send you emails saying, we know where you live, we have your address or whatever. Like, get the they're not going to come after you. They're in Romania. They're not going to fly over to get you because or whatever country that they might be sending their scams from and threatening you. Some other things I like is Microsoft. They have a website where you can report links that are unsafe, and Google Safe Browsing. Google Safe Browsing is actually built into Chrome, which a lot of people use. I use. Need to switch over to Brave. Like, gonna look into that this week actually, because I have Brave on my computer. I just don't use it. But yeah, safe browsing for Google. It will mark link like websites that are no good, they're malicious, and warn people or just not even show it up in the search results. So you put it right there. Now this article has a lot more in that, which I haven't shared this on my website, the willywill.blog or .com, but I will post everything on my website by the end of the day, hopefully. If not, by the end of the weekend. And then, so I wanted to get into a little bit of how emails are transmitted. So here we go. We have the message user agent, which kind of creates that email, and what they use to transmit it. The ESMTP, the E stands for extended, the simple mail transfer protocol for the actual SMTP. The E is where they added some security components, because as we know, when internet first started, there was basically no security at all. It was just, and email is actually one of the oldest forms of technology in the internet, because that's one of the first things that were used when the internet was being developed. And yes, SMTP is very vulnerable when it comes to things. We have tacked on some things to it, but the initial being able to put in that information into the headers, that's still very easily modified. And of course, you can see here the overall message handling service goes through the mail submission agent, goes to the mail transfer. Depends on, it could go from directly to a mail transfer agent, directly to your the mail delivery agent, and to your recipient here. It just depends on what kind of hops that it needs to go through from server to server. If it's coming across from Japan over to you, it may go through a few more servers than the person that's down the hall in the same building on the same network. Probably stay within that same ecosystem. Go over a little bit of the SMTP message flow, and I wanted to point out exactly which parts, because this right here is something that a threat actor can modify very easily. There's add-ons for the Outlook client, and also like the Mozilla or Thunderbird email client. But they can change the header information with the that client. I've seen it both. Actually, I've seen it most of the time as HELO versus EHLO, but it's either way. And those where they say, okay, this is who I am, where the return path from where it's where the email should be sent back to. Now, the return path is different than the reply, because the reply is something where it's the server that sends you the email will tell you, okay, I got it from this particular domain, where the return path in the headers is what the person says, send it back via this one. The recipient, that's really not present in the headers too much, because that's more in the data, put in where the headers, where it's from, where it's going to, the subject, etc., like that. And then, of course, it ends with a little dot just to tell the server, this is the end of my message. And the headers. This is, of course, just a section of the headers. I wanted to show you this first because this is kind of what people will normally see whenever first getting into an email. It's a wall of text. It's kind of like jumbled all in there. It's hard to understand, and that's why I recommend the tools to make this more readable. Like you can see, I pointed out the received right there, and when it comes to received, they'll stack. Like let's say it comes from a particular person, and that's going to be your first received, which is the first received. But then it's going to go through what MTA that mail transfer agent it's connected to next, and then the next one, and the next one, until it gets to you. So it's the one that's most furthest to the bottom is the one that we want to look at to see, hey, who did this actually come from? See the DKIM signature in there, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Probably actually come back to this slide a couple of times. So right here, the email header, I put the link up there for the toolbox. Like I said, this one, able to say the different checks that it passed. It failed the SPF check, and this one, like I said, gonna go back. I want to point out that actually I can't point it out because they used base 64 to encode it in the from and the subject. So we'll see what those say later on. But yeah, this one, it failed the SPF because they didn't actually have an SPF record. And this is also that same email, that header analyzer, just further down on the page. couldn't put everything on one slide, unfortunately. But you can see right there, the tool easily points out, okay, this doesn't have an SPF record. And it's from USAA for, the name, but, the website is completely off. And then on top of that, like SPF, that's Sender Policy Framework. That is basically what tells the server who is allowed to send emails. This one failed because it's saying it doesn't have it. And then when you think about it, when you just consider USAA, they're a large bank. They're going to have SPF, which I'm going to show you later on that I checked with the MX Toolbox that yes, I did verify that they do have SPF. That is one of the cornerstones of the three major security devices that you have for email. Just want to point out like the return path we talked earlier, how that can be modified by the threat actor. So, yeah, right, nope, went too far. I shouldn't have made this where it's has this fancy little animation. Oh. There we go. So, yeah, we were saying earlier how the return path, that's part of the older SMTP protocol that did not have security involved in it, and it can be modified easily. So it's the mail from with the sender, and that should be in the return path. So what did they do? They did not put anything for the return path. They don't want to get returned, like they're not interested in me replying back to them. That I didn't put the body of the message in here, but they would basically want you to call something or click a link. They don't want to reply.
So did you put the red boxes on this?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
so it doesn't point these out to you as problems. You just
No.
you still have to know what you're reading.
Yes, yes. The biggest thing that they do, this is actually at the very top of the website for the MX Toolbox when you do the header analysis. That's like the top left, I believe, somewhere in there. Yeah.
But it clearly has big red X's.
Exactly, exactly. And one of the other things I like is this part right here. Now, they're not on a blacklist. This, you can't actually get this by looking at the headers. This is added by the MX Toolbox. And MX Toolbox will keep a record of what where it's from, and like if those IP addresses, that sender is on some sort of blacklist. Well, in this case, they're not on any blacklist at all, because like maybe they're just started.
Is it because they use Yahoo?
Yeah.
As the base of it?
Well, they actually used, it went through Yahoo, but they used,
Because I heard from people who attempted to set up their own mail servers. It's actually a lot harder for the people to independently do that because a lot of the major mail services like Gmail, Google, or Yahoo, they kind of have more of a whitelist system of
Mhm.
acceptable domains and a blacklist system. So if you're trying to spin up your own mail server, it's really difficult for yourself to not get caught in spam.
yeah. Well, they used this, but of course, this also just could have been spoofed as well,
Yeah.
because the SPF record was set to none. And if the SPF record is set to none, basically the SPF is saying, okay, these are the IP addresses that are able to send emails for this domain. Well, when it's set to none, anyone can send it. There's no checks being done. Basically, so it could have been spoofed. That domain could be compromised. Who knows? Actually, I guess I could know by checking the SPF. I think I did that too. Let's see. I also highlighted this message ID. I wanted to talk about this. a message ID is unique for every single email. You could have the exact same email. You could write up an email, send it out, copy that, like send it out again. It's going to have the same sender, same receiver, same body, same everything, but because it's two separate emails, it's going to have two separate message IDs. And I want to point that out because of, let's say, you get emails from this particular company all the time. One of the things that's going to stay the same amongst the message ID is like the domain, the server area. And even this part right here, it's going to change every single time, but it's going to have the same kind of consistent pattern. A lot of times the pattern is like today's date with the time, and then like a little blurb or something that says a special code for them. But if you have previously known good emails from a particular person, you have their message ID, what it looked like in the past. Now, I have been thrown off by that too, because like I was like, wait, this message ID doesn't look like this message ID. Come to find out they did some changes with their mail server, so like that's a reason like it might be different from time to time. But overall, like if you have a previously good one and one that you're thinking that might be bad, that's a good thing to check as well, just to see if they're similar. All right, this is a different section of the MX Toolbox that goes into SPF checks. Unfortunately, it's not like on the top of, like they have a few options up at the very top of the row, but you could get to this SPF check by doing more tools. And you could easily just, and that right up there, the USAA : the IP address, which of course is the IP address that it came from, the originating IP address. All you have to do is enter in the USAA.com : the IP address, and then it's going to pop out red or green. Red is like, no, this is not checked. This is not passed the smell test for SPF for USAA.com. And then of course, I had another email that actually was from USAA.com, and I looked at their IP address. That was the IP address. I popped it into the SPF checker again for MX Toolbox, and of course, yes. I don't know if you could kind of tell that's green down there at the bottom. But I just wanted to point out like a kind of an easier way to check, to verify if the SPF record is correct or not. Especially because if you checked in the terminal, you might have to enter in the ask for the TX record, and then it's going to pop out another link, another SPF record, and then you're going to have to ask for that SPF record again, and eventually you're going to get to the IP addresses. You might get to the actual IP addresses with the first link, like the first check. It might take 3 checks. It's not too long, but like getting it through the terminal take a little bit more effort than just popping it in there, and want to provide the easier method up front. And I just wanted to kind of point out this is also something I think is good for MX Toolbox, makes it easy. This is, of course, I just popped in USAA, USAA.com, looked up the mail record, and this is kind of the stuff. Now, when it comes to the mail record versus the SPF, the mail record is what they're receiving to. It's the server they're receiving to. So if you're looking at up the MX record and you notice that the MX record is different than what's being said is the IP address for the SPS record, because the MX record is for, okay, we want the emails to be received on these IP addresses, which is through Proofpoint, you know, another company big into email security and everything. Now, also, it doesn't mean that these IP addresses won't work for SPF check, because yes, this is where they want to receive, but you know, they might be able to send with them as well. They might actually have it in the SPF record. So a couple of different back and forth things there. Any questions on? It's going pretty quickly. All right, and probably should have put this slide earlier, so my bad. Standard securities. SPF, DKIM, DMARC, 3 best known standards used for authenticating email, reducing domain spoofing. Like I was saying earlier, SPF framework, sender policy framework. Who is allowed to send emails? What IP addresses are allowed to, send emails with our domain? DKIM, domain key identifier mail. I kind of pointed it out earlier, didn't go too far into it, but this is the cryptic process, the public key process, where they provide you, in the email there will be a key, that public key. So, and it also like a hash of the email. So basically it's like, this email is going to go from hop to hop to hop. How do we know? Even though we know, because of SPF record, we know that the original domain, the original IP address that it was sent from is good, but how do we know along the way the email wasn't modified? Threat actor like, oh, let me snag that, make a couple changes, continue sending it on. Still from the original person, but this hop is where it changed. Well, that's where DKIM comes into play. It is verified that the email has not been modified in transit. Ooh, excuse me. Excuse me. And actually, let me go back up. I figured I'd be jumping back and forth in these slides when I made this. And like I was saying, the DKIM signature right there, you can see it. The RSA, SHA 256. I meant to actually do a refresher on how key pairs work, and did not do that. So I have to go do a cryptology presentation sometime. But it is pretty impressive. It basically uses modular arithmetic. Like one way of doing the calculations easy, but doing it the other way it's hard. For another day. Oh yes, please.
Does SMTP just normal? Does that one use DKIM?
Yes. Like they're all working together. The SMTP is just that first protocol that starts the email send it, and it's kind of the protocol that is the transfer mechanism. Like you could say the DKIM is kind of like the key that rides the bus, and the SMTP is the bus that's moving the other one.
SMTPS would encrypt the actual email content.
Well, there's not an S.
Oh,
like,
I looked at the S in there.
So SMTP is just like an operational layer, it's just
Yeah.
go. Whereas we saw with the SPF, DKIM, all that are authentication layers. And
Okay.
ways to encrypt and guarantee everything is locked in. So it's a system in place.
So it's not like
doesn't have to be encrypted.
it's not like HTTP and HTTPS.
Actually,
That's why I was
like-
thinking of it.
I might be wrong on
Yeah,
something.
not
There's
quite.
a SMTPS you see somewhere?
Yeah, I looked at the S next to the IP at the top, and
Oh,
I
with
kind of thought
the-
it was like secure.
Oh yeah.
at
Like
a different level. Of
I mean,
Any SMTPs.
these are contrast with like IMAP from back in the day.
Like, actually, I don't think that particularly means secure.
Yeah.
I think that means these
With
are,
these type of SMTPs.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
like
okay.
plural.
like,
That's good.
the, just the
Regardless.
plural. I'm fairly sure, because I know for the, for what I've seen, and I could be wrong, like, there's so much changes in technology, and like, it's hard for any one person to keep up, because this is a fairly newer email that I found in my spam. But yeah, the Yeah, pretty sure that means just plural.
If it came from like 20 years ago is when this acronym came out, it's probably not this secure the way that we use it today.
Yeah.
It's
The-
like,
and
compared
like-
to 20 years ago.
Like I was saying earlier, they do have more secure versions of SMTP, but that's has an E in front of it for extended, SMTP, like simple mail transfer protocol. Okay, so let's see here. All right, but yeah, that's DKIM, just public key cryptology to make sure it's not been modified. And then, of course, DKIM kind of pulling it all together and tells the servers how to handle, messages that fail these things, fail authentication. So they have, don't recommend P, none. P stands for policy. So policy for none, quarantine, or reject. So a lot of times I'll see either I'll see quarantine or reject. None if it's not a really well established site. And this is for that policy is for the SPF, mostly short. But yeah. So if it fails something like that, they'll say, quarantine this email or reject this email. And the thing is, this down here, what it says is just what the company, that's the record that they have in their DNS. If it's going for a US, if the email actually was coming from USAA, they'll have a SPF record in it. In fact, I think I put this one right here. Include, oh, no, it does. Well, did not put actually what their TX record stated, but I'm pretty sure they stated quarantine. Yeah, that's. Sorry, throat getting out of me here. But yeah, that's kind of just a. Oh yeah, now I got my train of thought back. So this is what the company that put the record out said that they want you to do. Doesn't mean the company that receives it has to do that particular thing. It's depending on whichever company you're working for, their mail servers, they can set up however they want to set it up. It might, the record might say, quarantine this email if it doesn't pass, and the company might be, okay, do whatever the record says to do. Or they may, let's not quarantine it, let's totally reject it because we don't want to send those at all. Or vice versa. It's more about just saying this is what the original company says to do with these kind of emails if they fail, but ultimately, whenever receiving the email, that the company, whoever sets up their mail server, they get to choose what they do with the email. It's not automatic. Oh, and one other thing I want to add, when it comes to DMARC, is there is also options to be able to send back the company. When you set up that information, they'll be able to receive reports on if that other company was rejecting their emails or whatever like that. Now, last but not least, wanted to say, always be skeptical. Like we talked about in the beginning, emails, it's, you could get emails that are actually from a legitimate person, but they've been compromised. You could, they could be looking suspicious, but they're actually legitimate, and they're not. So it's difficult. When it comes to emails and checking emails, it's a bit of you have to be able to look at what's technical, but then also what's human. What the email looks like. Is are they going to send you to this random website that has nothing to do with them, or something like that? Well, that's really basically all I have. Any questions?
One,
Oh yes, please.
one fun point to note is, for example, if your CEO or your manager just signs off with his name, and all of a sudden, some fine day, you see warm regards and his name,
Mhm.
you know that is not coming from him.
Exactly.
Well, it could be AI writing his emails now. That's one of the hard things to like figure whether this came from a person. Now that people use AI to like read their emails and use AI to reply to emails. Sometimes language can change like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just wow.
Yep.
Democracy, smart.
Oh, yeah, that's please.
So if one was unfortunately tasked with managing email for an organization,
Mhm.
is there a way to tie all this stuff into some sort of pre-filtering type stuff so that you don't have to trust Richard in marketing not to click on bad stuff?
Yes,
Because he's not
absolutely.
gonna-
There's many, like I know for my organization, we're using Microsoft, which they we talked mainly about the SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, but before it even reaches those, there's also other scans that these emails will go through. They'll just go through. It goes through an AI scan these days just to look to see if this.
Yet you still got that USAA.
Exactly, like a user
So
behavior.
Why did that get pulled out?
That one's my personal Yahoo mail.
And Yahoo doesn't protect you?
Well, they didn't protect me from that one.
I mean, like a lot of these spoof emails, like if you click report spam, if enough people, as I understand it, if enough people report spam on these, eventually like the Google or the Gmail or Yahoo
Mhm.
spam filters eventually starts flagging for spam for everyone else. So you may be among the first recipient to like
Mhm.
receive this version of the spam email, so you start marking it as spam. But like, but another thing to like to be wary of if you click it, sometimes these emails have like embedded images
Mm.
that like are actually just tracker information to know that hey, someone clicked on it, someone checked on it. Even
Right,
if you didn't
right.
click on the link, they still got info that this is like this email is
Active
like is
email.
active
Yeah.
email.
But I
Mhm.
mean, you went through and found all those problems. Why?
Go check your spam. email.
Yeah, but that.
Why wouldn't-
While you talk, I'm going to go while.
Yeah, I'm just curious why Yahoo or whoever
Uh-huh.
doesn't protect you.
So,
It's not their- it's not their
they
job.
A
do.
lot of it user is reported first.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just like rules-based filter that goes by consensus, like she was
Yeah.
saying. It's not as smart as it is.
Yeah, like they, you know, especially with Yahoo and Gmail, they get so many emails.
Is that the
Well,
joke here? They just don't have us. That's why AI
they don't.
is part of the mix.
Yeah,
now.
they don't have the manpower, and you have to also think like if they start making it harder for malicious emails to come in, that also means you might be
Legit emails.
legitimate emails
Yeah,
as
like
well.
From like a self-spun like email server example, those just tend to get caught in this spam filter because they haven't been whitelisted yet.
Yeah, the at my work, we have to release emails, you know, fairly frequently because we actually have it more locked down than possibly Yahoo or Gmail does. But like, if your you know, friend, your mom, your dad, whoever, like sends you an email, and the email has like keywords could actually trigger a filter and put that email for my work to into the quarantine or something. Like I'm sending you this malware. Hope you have a great day. Like that's going to be flagged and put into a quarantine.
It should be.
yeah.
That's like a lot of organizations also have like a dedicated like team. Well, not necessarily dedicated. They kind of contracted to do like a service that manages to make sure like say that's invoices that goes to marketing, but they don't get like. But if it gets sent to like the engineer team or something, that's likely to be spam.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of like their job to like manage that.
Everything we get has a tag that says external email.
Yeah, that's
If
also.
it is, and I just have a rule that just puts that all into a
Oh, yeah.
folder and I don't bother.
I mean, yeah, because you're engineering team, because you're like in the team that deals with like
Yeah.
invoices and they
That'd be
have to
different.
care about that. Yeah.
Well, see,
I
like,
don't need any external emails at all.
Yeah, exactly.
well, I'm saying for my work, like, if you just say that in the body, it's probably going to be quarantined. But like Yahoo, like if you just say that without any attachments, it's probably going to go through just fine because they don't have sort of filters of actually like specific words that are
That's
saying.
interesting. If someone sent me an email from within the company and said external email, it would probably, I don't know, maybe it
It depends on how
That'd be fine too, that, they deserve it.
Yeah, it depends on how it's all set up. Like when it comes to company emails,
Yeah.
where like they have a lot of controls over what can be come in. You know, there's virus scanning. There's like just brand scanning. Is like this emails looks like it says USAA in the body, but the domain is not USAA, so like that would be my work, right? But like it's not doing in Yahoo or Gmail and stuff because like they don't have time to release your email from quarantine if like it was actually a legitimate email.
The interesting part is that when the security team sends out fake emails to try to trick you, when it pops up in my email, the first thing I think is, how did this get through my filter?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, because it's not a real email.
Well, that's actually one of the things that I push for at my work because at my job, of course we have the security notes that saying this email is coming from outside the company.
Right.
And when I first got there, they were like taking those off for the testing ones. I actually kind of disagree with that. I was like, hey, that's our job. Like, our job is to make sure anything that's coming from external has like the only way they're going to get a phishing email that's internal is if we have a rogue employee and someone's been breached, and that's our job. That's what we need to be on the lookout to make sure that people get breached. For these phishing tests, I actually,
But that is actually a concern now.
yeah, it is a concern.
Talking to the supervisor, we're actually having verified, so we
Mhm.
know first, that people have actually met somebody face to face.
Mhm.
That actually is a person, so a lot of people having these filters.
Yep.
Background filters.
Mhm.
We also had a person who's working overseas,
Mhm.
who's not in the US, not from the country.
Yep.
So there's a lot of that can go on. We
Oh,
have
yeah.
access to control systems and
Oh,
emails and click.
there's so-
So there's a lot of.
Yeah, there's so many articles I've seen over the last year or two or so, like talking about tech employees from North Korea, infiltrating the company. They're not even here. They have IP that's from here that no one's ever met them. They're over.
They have accomplices, like they don't actually know, but
Yeah,
like in the
they
United States
do-
who do like an
they do
interview
that.
for them, and then they set up
One of those.
like.
I had an interview to be one.
Oh my god.
And these people post on LinkedIn like out in the open, so that's why I'm questioning like why we're supposed to use LinkedIn for like connecting jobs. There's so much of it's just straight up scams on
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Like as I was graduating back in 2023 for my computer science degree, I got contacted by someone, and they're like, "We want you to, work for us. You would be like independent, where you would have a Upwork account, but we would do all the actual work for you in the background. You're just the face of the operation, and we want you to help us because, you have an American accent and you can talk to people." And like I went to the interview like thinking it was something else, and then I got listening to this. I was like, "Well, thank you. Have a nice day."
Yeah.
They're gonna scam them, they can scam you, so it's like that, yeah.
Exactly. I was like, whoa. Like they actually during the interview they had another American person that was on the call. Like he spoke English just fine, and everything, and he was saying what he was. I was like, oh, yeah, there you go. Like, no, thank you. Not going to be part of a fraud. But yeah. Oh, any other questions?
How's that different from a salesman?
Like that is very true. Like it could have been but what's the biggest difference I felt was like they wanted me to have my face and never tell the company that I was supposedly developing code for. Is that I'm actually speaking to another group from another country that's developing your code for you. I'm just pretending it's mine and getting you to pay me, and then I'm going to pay them.
Yeah, you're making
The
the
part,
delta. Yeah, like the delta between, let's say, 200K, whatever the cost of living is.
Arbitrage.
Yep.
So,
So like I was like, if I'm going to be on Upwork saying that I'm developing code, I'm going to be developing code. It's not going to be me contracting out
I
with
mean-
people I've never met before.
What's the
and-
contract to the AI?
Yeah, like I'll have the AI do my code for you and then tell it to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how things are going.
That's how it is nowadays.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like trust a group that, you know, that I just don't know at all.
You don't know the code under your name.
Exactly. And if I did, if I did do that where I was the front person, I would tell people I'm the front. I'm kind of like the salesperson. This is the group that's working on it. I'm not about this.
They have something called a business that you could do that with.
Exactly.